Welcome back to another edition of Down and Back with CornDoug. This week, I've got a great show for you again. We're going to have Frank Modlin on the show. Some of you will have seen him on ESPN playing with his new partner, Jamie Graham. But yeah, we'll get talking with him in a little bit here. Also want to thank everyone for tuning in live last night with our Octane Bag giveaway. We had our two winners. We finally got those 100 subscribers. So we gave those two sets of 4 bags away. So hopefully they're going to have some fun with that. But yeah, so thanks for that there. We're going to do something again. We'll find something else to give away once we get to the 200 subscribers. But so until then, we'll kind of keep thinking of what Matt can come up with Octane to give away. So since there's really not much going on in the cornhole world, we'll bring Frank in right now. Frank, welcome to the Down and Back.
Hey, I appreciate it, Doug. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. Still trying to find some stuff to do here. There's not being able to play live. Just that partner is always the guy I'm playing against is always beating me because I'm just having a tough time hitting the board sometimes.
Oh, I heard that. This has been a big adjustment, man, for everybody. I'm sure missing all my cornhole family for sure. I've been watching a ton of video, and I just feel like it kind of keeps me connected with everybody. But I'm sure missing everybody for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, here they just the other week, probably about 3 weeks ago now, they actually played some of the finals from Florida. They kind of teased us. I wasn't happy with it because they were like supposed to be the Cornhole Mania from Cleveland, and they kept advertising that, and I'm like, come on, just give me a little more knife in the gut there, saying that didn't happen, and you're going to show it here. But we actually got to see. Probably not one you want to remember, but we got to see your doubles match against McClellan and Malone there. They were Dalton is just a buzzsaw on the boards.
Oh yeah, those guys for the last couple of years, they have seriously been on fire. Kyle and Dalton both, man, they have really stepped it up. And they're good guys too. But yeah, I felt like I let my buddy down, Jamie, in that one. We had played strong to get to that point, and then when we got there, I felt like Jamie played good enough to, we could have made it right on to the championship, and I was just not on my game, but we'll see if we can get them next time.
Well, exactly. I think it's just, and watching it again there earlier today, it was just that it was almost like that bag luck around the hole that just, there was a couple of shots you had there that I know that I wouldn't have a chance of making, but they almost just, it just kind of rims that hole and just kind of makes that left turn that you don't really want it to, but it's still, I know my wife, we were watching it and she was like, you got to go start practicing. And I was like, yeah, I know, but you got a whole list of stuff for me to do right now. Now that we're not doing anything, but it's just, it's, the level that cornhole has become is just crazy, because for myself, I forgot just how young Dalton is, because I remember seeing him 2 years ago, 2018, in Cherokee at the finals there, and so he would have been like 15 there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he is a young guy, but I think he fools a lot of people because he's very mature for his age.
Yeah.
He doesn't let the big stage bother him a whole lot, and I tell you what, that's something that a lot of people struggle getting past. You get to that moment, and if you can't control those nerves, it becomes a big obstacle. But it doesn't affect him. So I think that's why it appears that he's a little older than what he actually is. But he's a good guy, man. He's a hard competitor for sure.
Now speaking of good guys, some people have been watching for a while here with myself. They would have seen my second show I had on Scott Sullivan, who's from our local area, was down in Valley Forge there last year at the ACL finals there. I asked him, I said, I know when I was down in Cherokee, there was always that pro who would talk with me, and that I said, was there anyone down there that you were able to talk to? And he said, Frank Modlin was amazing. He was like, you helped him through that time when he was on ESPN for the first time, the big show. He was like, you helped him out, you talked to him, and then even for the rest of the week, every time you seen him, you were just you were just checking in. And I said to him, I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I told him on the way down there, that you guys are there to help people out as well too, and not just play.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's really how just about everybody is. And the cornhole community just seems like they remind me a lot of like the camping community. That's kind of where I got started playing, was camping, and just like in the camping world, everybody's willing to help everybody. Everybody wants to see everybody do well and be successful, and there are no barriers. It just seems like everybody's one great big family. But that's a cool story, man. Tell him I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, like that's like he just said, it was like you just came up to him and you were kind of helping him out with that first time on TV, and it's just, he was like, it was just awesome because it just helped him.
That's awesome. That is so cool, man. And look, I'm just one of thousands that do that, though. So many people help, just like we were talking about, off the air. How the sport is growing up there in your area. It's all about, planting those seeds in those areas throughout our country. And, with the WCO, we're going to be planting those seeds throughout the world here soon.
Well, exactly. We've already had a couple of people from Europe on talking, with cornhole, with, regards to Germany and Sweden and them playing. And like I did said how they already had like a couple huge tournaments lined up until this COVID happened. But it's just, I think we're just on that cusp of being everywhere. Like we've had the Australians come up, and it's just, it's I think it's just right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the ACL has got this thing in motion. It's heading in a great direction. I think this COVID thing, is just a little stall. We're strong. We'll bounce back quick, and I think that our next goal is the Olympics.
Exactly, and I was talking to, I think it was Jay Corley a couple of weeks ago here, and we were talking about that, and I said, he said that we're kind of close, and I was like, you know what? I think because he had played in there was the world tournament, some players from the U.S. played, some players from Europe played, and I was like, look how many different people were in Europe, from all the different countries that were playing in that. They're already in those other spots. It's just growing. Like I talked to Kalle Akesson from Sweden, and he's like, they've just got that small little community. They're only getting like 30, 40 people out to their big events. And it's just, once that grows, it's going to take off. Oh
yeah, for sure. Like you said, it once you introduce it to an area, it just kind of spreads. It spreads from there. You get visitors come into that small area, and then they'll carry it back to their areas. And with the social media now, I think has been a big help as far as the growth of cornhole. Just like with your podcast, I think that this is a huge positive for the sport, because before, or back when I was young, the only way we could see sports and stuff would be, on TV, not even with the internet. So now, with the ability to be able to contact or stay in connection with all the people, through social media, I think that's been a big positive for sure.
Yeah. So, and like you said, with growing the game, it's so easy to play because you can play anywhere. You can break it out. Like I was telling you before, when I got my start in North Carolina, talking with the one guy who got me that start, he was like, my boards are in the back of my truck all the time. If we go out to eat, there's a lineup to get into the restaurant. Those boards are coming out, and we're going to play. Right?
Absolutely. It's well, like you say, it's so adaptable, man. You not only can you play it pretty much anywhere, anybody can play as well. The ACL proves that with the junior division right on up to the senior division, and in the school systems, we have our youth playing, and even we, for the last several years, we've had a couple of different programs. One is we've got an exchange program where some of our German exchange students participate in a tournament which is really cool, man. Some of these guys have never ever seen the sport at all, and to see them kind of get hooked immediately is really cool. And we've added or incorporated it into our Special Olympics program as well. So anybody, truly anybody can play.
Yeah. I know. I had a tournament for my son's hockey team this year, and so I had a bunch of 10-year-olds playing, and now the fathers now all laugh because whenever I'm around, that's the first thing they ask is, when are we playing cornhole again? So it's just it's getting that youth involved, and that's what's really going to help it spread.
Yes, absolutely. All Cornhole, which is my sponsor, they've got some things going on right now with Kingdom Kids, a program that they've got going. If you hadn't seen it, check it out, man. It's a really good program that is getting the youth involved in the sport. Matter of fact, All Cornhole is doing some promotional stuff, along with Kingdom Kids. They got some bags out, and then they've got the United bags out, which it just goes to show how tight of a community we are, man. Everybody's willing to help everybody.
Yeah. So I do have another question about bags, but first, knowing that you are a PE teacher, how good is your students in cornhole?
I've actually had some students that have come through we're middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I've had some students throughout the years that have come through that have gotten really good in a hurry. And just like you said, with the guys that pull up to the restaurant, if you pull the boards out, just like if I pull them out here in the gym, those guys want to play. And you let them be a little bit successful, like if they get one on the board or get one in the hole, they are hooked. And from there, you could just see their light, the eyes light up. And we'll make a little adjustments. Might make adjustments in the distances or whatever to make them more successful in the beginning. But planting those seeds, they love it though. They absolutely love it.
Oh, exactly. So then getting onto the bags and knowing that you are all cornhole and you are, I guess we can call you Mr. Game Changer, but just your thoughts on this whole bag thing, like that has just gone absolutely crazy. Like I talked with Trey about it, with Trey Ryder, and I was like, it's almost like these bags are almost on the same level as gold being sold and traded for.
It has been crazy, man, for sure. The fan base and the customer base out there have been awesome. Cornhole has gone through some transitions for sure, especially since I started playing with the equipment. And it's just like with any other sport, it evolves. And the bags have definitely evolved over the years for sure. And I was just talking, matter of fact, I was talking with Kyle Malone when we were down in Florida for a tournament a couple of months ago. And he and I were talking about, how the bags have changed the sport in ways that some people don't even realize. A lot of your new players that came to like your local blind draw or something in years past, they would show up and with the bags that were a little bit tougher, to get in the hole, they were kind of discouraged, from coming back and playing because they weren't very successful. The bags that are out there now are much more forgiving. You don't have to have quite as flat a bag. So players are able to get to a higher level quicker. And what that has done for the sport, those players that were getting beat and, they just didn't feel like that they could compete at all, they're seeing some success. So they're coming back. And it's just, it's made the sport grow.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, even just for myself, just seeing within the last, like from 2017 till now, just that growth and with the way the bags have come along from where you just had that other, I forget what the slick material was, but then you had the other duck cloth that was just kind of, using that. But now there's just, it's almost like high tech, trying to get everything involved.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's all about hole drop. In today's game, if you do not have a bag that is extremely hole friendly, it's hard to compete because the blockers aren't quite as effective as what they used to be. Back in, like you said, back in the duck cloth and the suede days, you put that block up, it was hard to go through it because it was, in place, and it kind of stayed in place. Now the bags are designed that, you can play through those blocks and play around those blocks, hook the hole, come back from the backside. A lot of people argue that, it's taken a lot of the skill out of the game. I think it's really just changed the skills, rather than it being a block and an airmail and a real tough push. It's become, you can still throw some blocks up, but your go around bags have become the more of skill. You've got your guys now that can do the rollover bags and the curve bags. I think that the skills have just adjusted to the equipment, or vice versa. I think you still have your elite players that are able to master their skills a little bit better, it seems like, than some, but it's because of the time that they put into it. These guys that are super competitive, they were really good when it was duck cloth and suede bags, but when the new bags came along, they might have been a little frustrated with them, at first, but now you see these top level players have mastered all of the skills that are necessary now to play with this type of bag and this type of game. So it's a matter of how much time you put into it, how much effort you put into it, to be able to stay at that top elite level.
Well, exactly. It's almost like it's like you say, you get those new people that come out that think, oh, you just want to bag into a hole. How hard is that? And then they get them out, and that then gets that competitive spirit in them going, because it's not just throwing that bag in the hole. It's putting a bag here because it's all that strategic stuff that's in there. I always bring it up that Timothy Pitcher said to me, it's like you wouldn't wind up play checkers, but you end up playing chess because there's so much mental stuff involved with what do I need to do here? What do I need to do there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All about calculations, man, for sure. And knowing what you're capable of doing and knowing what your opponents are capable of doing. Timothy Pitcher is a great example, man. He still, even with the bags that are out there today, he can put up those blocks, and he's one of the top airmailers in the country. And there's a lot of them. Matthew Morton, my goodness, he throws that block as well. Somehow or another, he's able to do it with the slick side on Game Changers, still effectively, and still kill it over top. There's just so many good players out there, and they, like I say, they've just made those adjustments. But I tell you, what's been probably one of the most impressive things is where it's carried these guys as far as their just slide percentages. They're astronomical. And now some of the data that the American Cornhole League is able to gather through all the technology and stuff that they've got going on, and some of the stuff that they just launched here in the last couple of weeks, with some of the fantasy games and stuff. It's really impressive to see some of the numbers that these guys are putting up as far as just straight slide percentage. And, with all this COVID stuff going on, it's kind of been able to actually highlight some of those skills, because, we've transitioned from, playing heads up live to now where, we're playing these virtual tournaments where it's actually focusing more on just slide percentages. And it kind of gives a little bit of insight to the skill sets that these players actually have. You look at these guys like Noah Wooten and Jamie Graham, and let's see, I know I'm getting some Derek King and Matthew Sorrells, and I hate. And look, Rocky's been killing it on virtual, man. I seen
one of his games the other night there, yeah.
Oh my God, I've watched a ton of his video, and he's really done well with, and these tournaments are not easy because when you think that you take that like the crowd aspect out, it seems like to me that this is even more challenging because once you say, all right, I'm going live, that's almost like ESPN saying, all right, we're live. So it's tough, but these guys they're doing it and they're doing it well. I was trying to think of some more of those players, but there's a ton of them out there that are really, really killing it for sure.
Well, I'm almost thinking that these Decaron games and that are almost more mental because people know that you're good enough that you should be hitting that hole all the time if it's an open board. So you've got that mental pressure on you, and because you can do it, and it's and then you have those other people watching that. It's really taking skill to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And just like you were saying right then, it's that expectation, that mental expectation of what you think that people are expecting you to be able to do. And you're on that camera, so it's out there for everybody to see. And to be able to stay mentally focused through several rounds, what seems to me one of the toughest challenges to some of the virtual games is if you have a bad couple of rounds early, it's kind of stuck in your mind at that point. But what you have to do, you have to push it down, and just realize you've got the rest of that match that you can, improve on. So just kind of play each round separately, and you can let the momentum, if you're doing well, play off that momentum, but don't let, if you have a bad round in early goings or something, don't let that affect the rest of your game or match.
Exactly, and you kind of brought it before there with knowing what your partner can do and what your opponent can do. You now partner with Jamie Graham. Watching you guys in the doubles there, because I was able to see some of the other live streams from Florida. You guys were really on the same page, which was really impressive to see.
I appreciate that, man. Jamie is just so easy to play with. I used to play. I've played with several partners in the past. Jordan Camba, Rocky. I played a lot with him. I played with Jordan Langworthy for the longest time, my buddy. And I've been fortunate, man. I've got to be one of the luckiest players out there because I've been able. Scott Lane. Don't let me forget Scott Lane.
Yeah.
My buddy. But I've been so fortunate to be able to play with a lot of these players. And at the beginning of the season, DK, Derek King, and I was supposed to play with each other. And I would have loved to have seen what we could have done too. But just from a geographic thing, it just made more sense for us to make those changes where Jamie and I could play the same conference and everything. But Jamie is so easy to play with, man. He's very low-key. He doesn't get – and I've always thought that somebody told me a long time ago that your players that are more successful seem to be able to control those emotions. They don't ride the highs too high and they don't ride the lows too low. They're able to stay kind of even keel. And Jamie is a prime example of that. He's able to stay even keel no matter if things are going good or if things are not going quite so good. And that makes it very it makes it a lot easier on the partner for sure, because if you've got somebody, if you make a mistake and you know that they're going to kind of jump on you or whatever, then that's kind of weighing on your mind. But he's a great player. He's one of the top players in the country right now for sure. And I'm hoping that we can get back on those boards together soon. And I'm ready to get some redemption from Florida.
Yeah, because and even in that final game that I got to see, there was even times where you were asking him what to throw, and he was like, "Throw the airmail, just straight up." Just it's that when you have that partner, it's that confidence that if you have that confidence in your partner, it's just gonna excel your team.
Oh yeah, and the more you play together, the more you understand what the abilities are of your partner. Jamie and I have played against each other forever, and we've wanted to partner up for quite a while. But yeah, having that confidence in your partner and knowing what shots that you want them to go for, it's kind of like when we're playing. Even if we don't give a signal or something, we kind of know what the other person is going to go for. We know what their shot's going to be. But that was like what you were talking about, the chess match. When you're watching a match, even if you're not even playing in it, a lot of us are mentally going through, all right, we're calling out those shots that we think that player is going to go for or take. And same thing with your partner. If you see the board structure, like the bag layout, then you know what your partner is already thinking. And if there's something on your end that you can see that you might not think that he can see, then that comes into play. But for the most part, they're playing it, pretty much like a singles match on their end, and what shots that they're probably going to end up going for.
Exactly here. So in the last few minutes here, I know your name has popped up a few times in the shows here recently, just because of we're talking about that. You got that serious on the boards, but then after is just, everyone just gets together for fun, and it's kind of seemed like that Jordan Kamba, Jay Corley, and that they really like to have their fun after.
Oh yeah, look, that's part of it, man. You got to be tough skinned in this game, right?
Exactly, yeah. They were saying that there's been a few poker games afterwards, and just kind of that whole, which then comes around again, that whole camaraderie within the sport of cornhole.
Hey, you still there? Sorry about that.
Yep.
I had a call come in.
Yeah, but no, just that whole, like the poker games and everything after is just that whole camaraderie.
Doug, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I still got you here. You there? Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Doug, can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I got you here.
I've lost the audio. I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Just seeing if maybe.
Hey, Doug, I can see you, but I can't hear you. I'm not sure what I've done here. I had a call come in.
Okay. We'll end it here because we're up on the half hour here. So I'm gonna definitely have Frank back again. I want to thank him for coming on. Sorry we had the little audio stuff, but I do want to have him back on again. But yeah, because we want to talk about some of that fun times that we've had after tournaments not there. But thanks for watching here. We got we're still in the virtual times, so keep throwing those virtual bags and having fun, and keep watching the down and back. Check out some of the other podcasts the other guys are doing. They're having some fun as well too. So just keep throwing those bags, stay safe, and hopefully we're back playing live again soon.